Hello and welcome. My name is Eva Dunlap Lewis, and I'll be guiding you through your Communities Connect engagement platform training. Let's get started. Alrighty, team. Hopefully we're all set up and ready to go. Today we will be talking about IT support and suggestions. As a reminder, when I say Cubigo, I mean Redwood Terrace Connect. And when I say Redwood Terrace Connect, I mean Cubigo. They are in almost all cases synonymous. Also, another reminder, I am using Redwood Terrace Connect on my computer. Redwood Terrace Connect looks the same if you're using a computer, if you're using an Android, if you're using any web browser. Then my screen, what you see up here, will look just like what you see on your screen. If, however, you're using an iPhone or an iPad, then what you see on your screen will be slightly different. iPhone and iPad users have a slight change in layout. I'll talk about those differences as they arise. When we do our follow-up trainings, which are always scheduled the following week for 30 minutes, I do use the screen of an iPad just so that I can make it a little bit more fair for iPhone and iPad users. However, unlike today's training, those are not recorded. One last little piece of maintenance and housekeeping here. I'm using an administrator account. I don't actually live at Redwood Terrace, unfortunately. So my screen will look different from everybody's screen because I'm an administrator. Those differences are pretty clear right in here. I don't think that you guys get to see all these crazy little icons on the left side of my screen when you look at Redwood Terrace Connect. I highly suggest, if this is your first time watching this lesson, that you simply keep your eyes up on my screen, watch what I'm doing up here. We'll take plenty of time during our follow-up trainings to practice. But if you have watched this video lesson before, once these are posted on your information cube, then feel free to follow along with your device in hand as best you can. During this training and while in these cubes, we'll do the following. Here's our outline for today. We'll review the main page of IT support and what we can see on that page, including any attachments or links. We'll learn how to request IT support and how to view past IT support requests. We'll learn how to view the main page of suggestions and how to make a suggestion, as well as how to view past suggestions that we've made. And we'll go through in about that order. We'll jump right in and start with reviewing the main page of IT support and what can be found there. From the home page of Redwood Terrace Connect, which is what I'm looking at right up here, I want to look for the IT support cube. On my screen, the cubes go down the right side, but on iPhones and iPads, your cubes are usually horizontal across the middle of the page. So while I have to scroll down, iPhone and iPad users may have to swipe to see the IT support cube. The IT support cube is a dark blue cube, and it's got a computer with a question mark. It's pictured up here on my screen. So when we see this cube on our home page, we can click it or tap it, and it will take us into the main page of IT support. Here I can see your community IT administrator is Ezekiel Perez. Today's date is the 7th of April 2022, and I say that because these videos won't be released till June, but as of today's date, this is how the IT support cube looks, what I see up here. But first and foremost, announcements, Happy New Year's, that's probably going to be removed soon. So keep your eyes up here for me. If I scroll to the bottom of my IT support cube, I have 3 pieces of text. I have interested in taking a technology class, social media vocabulary, and what IT can and cannot do. So as of today, April 7th, this is how it looks, but hopefully not for much longer. So we have on the IT support cube, we've got a lot of information, how to place an IT request or view existing requests. That will likely be there for a long time. If we scroll down the page, I can see that I have 2 options, place request and your requests. For some reason on iPhones and iPads, these buttons are in reverse order. And they're also above the text when you're using an iPhone or an iPad. So we'll come back to those buttons. For now, I just want to show you what is in this extra text down here. These options, these 3 options, are all clickable, which means if we click them, then they're going to reveal more information. If I had clicked interested in taking a technology class, it will reveal this paragraph of text and then this little attachment. An attachment is usually a flyer or a memo or a letter, sometimes even pictures. They're meant to be viewed separately. Sometimes they could even be forms that we're meant to print and fill out. So this right here is an attachment on iPhones and iPads. After you click the text, the attachment would show up in blue if there was one. So to see this attachment, I can just click it and it will open up onto a separate page where I could zoom in to make it larger by placing 2 fingers on my screen or my trackpad and pull those fingers apart. I could zoom out by pulling 2 fingers apart, pulling them together. If I'm using a computer where I don't have a trackpad or a touch screen, I can use these icons, the minus and the plus, to zoom in or zoom out. To get back to the previous page, when I'm done with this attachment, I can hit the back arrow in the top left. And it takes me back to the main page of IT support. Can do the same thing for social media vocabulary. I can click it and there's no extra paragraph here. There's just an attachment. What's an attachment again?
Could be a flyer, pictures.
Flyer, pictures, memo, letter, form. It's something meant to be viewed separately. I can click the attachment and then see it. Scroll down to see all of the information. Zoom in, zoom out, and hit the back arrow in the top left to leave the attachment. I believe for iPhones and iPads, instead of the back arrow, you might have the word done. Last but not least, we have what IT can and cannot do. Now, this is important because it's going to play a role in our next steps of requesting IT support. How do I view the information associated with this text? Does anyone know?
Click on it.
Click on it. That's right, Jack. Was that Jack?
Yes.
All right, good job. So that reveals an attachment, right? So now I just click the attachment and then I have this list. So unfortunately, your IT administrators over at Redwood Terrace cannot do everything. I'm going to go through the bottom half of this list with you on what kinds of services aren't covered by human good IT. Unfortunately, human good IT will not be able to help you with work that includes access to private information, including passwords, medical, or financial data. So they can't help you with your passwords, medical, or financial data. Data just means information. So whenever you see the word data, just replace it with information. Human good cannot help you with your private information, including passwords, medical, or financial information. That kind of makes sense. There's a lot of liability there. Work that risks resident data or information, including file recovery and virus remediation. So if you're trying to back up and transfer your information from one computer to a new computer, or you think you have a virus on your device, unfortunately, the admins cannot help you with that. You're also limited to any operating system that the tech doesn't know. That's just kind of a coverall to make sure that, there's so many different types of technology out there that your admins can't be expected to know everything. So occasionally they'll just have to say, I don't know how this works. I'm sorry, I can't help you with it. Doesn't happen often, but sometimes it could. And that makes sense. Physical home theater, audio-visual installation, setup, and assistance. TV, cable, hardwire installation, setup, and assistance, including remote controls. Private, non-human good provided phone support. And vendor relation assistance. Those are all examples and categories of things that human good IT administrators cannot help you with. If you're ever not sure, you can always place the request for IT support and they'll let you know if they can help you with that issue or not. So you don't have to memorize these, but it's good to know. Are there any questions on this before I move on?
No.
Okay. To leave this attachment, I'll go back to the back arrow in the top left. And I'm back to the main page of IT support. I got here from the home page of Redwood Terrace Connect. I just clicked the IT support cube and it took me to this page where I can scroll down. And now let's talk about those handy dandy buttons, place request and your requests. If we need help from IT support, then we'll go to this cube and we'll hit where it says place request. The screen changes and we're taken to the place request form. All of this extra information up here, it's only visible on the computer browser or Android version. For some reason, it doesn't show up on the iPhone, iPad version. We're working on getting this removed as well. The most important part of this page is a little bit further down, and this is a form. Just like the forms that we fill out for maintenance or housekeeping in earlier lessons, we have to fill out a form when we need IT support, give them details about our issue, right? So the first option on here, it says under details, location, but we don't have to input anything. It just says my apartment. What does that mean? Why is that significant?
It's the only place that we have to work.
Right. It's the only place that we can request IT support for. We can't request it to Amanda's office, right? So our first choice, our first actual thing to do on this form is indicate. We have to read right here and indicate whether or not we're okay with IT support coming in when we're not there. So this little checkbox says, I would like to allow technicians to enter my apartment even when I'm not at home. If we're okay with that, then we check the box or the circle. Depends on the device we're using, what we see. If we're not okay with it, we leave it blank. I would assume that for IT support, for the most part, you would want to be there because you're asking for help with something. It's not like maintenance where they can just come and switch out a light bulb. So for the most part, I would expect that you would leave that blank because you want to be there. Next on the form, and for this example, I'm going to leave it blank. Next on the form, we have type of issue, choose from list. iPhone and iPad users, it will just say choose. So you click or tap where it says choose or choose from list, and these are our options for type of issue. Network internet issue, desktop laptop issue, mobile device issue, or other. When might we use other? Can anyone think of an example? Maybe if we were having a problem with an Alexa device, a streaming device like a Roku or an Apple TV, or a printer. We could also use other if it doesn't fit into any of those categories or we don't know. So let's see, Amanda, can you give me a fake issue for my phony request here. Can you give me an example of something that's gone wrong we might need IT support for?
I can't get internet connections
Okay,
or not
that's a good
connected to the
one.
box. Yeah.
So which would we choose under type of issue?
Network and the internet.
Yeah, network internet issue. Now, all we have left to do is fill out this text box and give as much detail as possible regarding your issue or request. This is really important for IT support because if you've tried to fix the problem yourself, you can save the technician's time by writing out everything that you did to try and fix it. So I'm going to start with my internet isn't working. All right, Amanda, what have we done anything to try and fix this?
I would say one thing is to turn off your computer, restart it.
I
Sometimes that usually
restarted
helps.
my computer and that did not work. Anything else that we tried?
Oh, we checked the modem and that was functioning.
Okay, that's a good one, but I'm not sure everyone would know how to do that. So I might say everything seems to be plugged in. Right? And I haven't changed my password since last using. Okay, so we also might want to say what device we're using the internet on. I access the internet through my desktop computer. Please help. Right, so we gave a lot of information that would, you know, the tech probably wouldn't restart our computer or check our connections or ask us about our password or what we've done with the password. That would help them along. And then they would know what device that we were using this on. So the more information that you can give, the better. I'm going to add one more piece here and say, for training purposes only, please mark as completed and disregard. Thank you, because I don't live at Redwood Terrace. The final things we have to do, we want to look through all the information we input, make sure it's all correct. Now, if you're following along and you're creating your own phony request along with me, it's not a real problem, then please hit cancel. Cancel for me is at the bottom of my screen, but for iPhone and iPad users, cancel is usually in the top right. It's important to cancel because if it's not a real request, we don't want IT tracking you down to help you with something that's fake, right? It's important to note that just like all requests done through Redwood Terrace Connect, if this is something urgent, then we likely just want to call the department or the front desk. Like if we have a Zoom meeting in 30 minutes and our internet isn't working, and we want to see if IT support can help us with that in the next 30 minutes, then we would probably call rather than input a work order like this. Because although they check this frequently throughout the day, it would reach them sooner if you called. And that's the same protocol for maintenance issues, housekeeping issues, and transportation issues. If there's an urgent need, like if your pipe has burst under your sink and water is flooding your apartment, would you place a request in maintenance, or would you call?
I'd call.
Yeah, we'd call because it was urgent. We needed them there ASAP. So for me, this isn't urgent, but I would like help with it. So I'm going to make my request by hitting request. iPhone and iPad users, you would hit submit, but if it's not a real request, then please cancel it. Because we cannot cancel a request once we have made it using Redwood Terrace Connect. The only way to cancel a request is to call. After I hit request, where does it take me back to?
You're at the home page now.
I am at the home page. That's right. And is there anything new here? Do we notice anything different about this home page from a couple minutes ago?
We now have a network internet issue request.
Right. So on my schedule, which for me is at the very top of my page under today, my schedule shows me any activities that I'm signed up for or interested in that I signed up for on Redwood Terrace Connect that occur today. So that's why I see Redwood Terrace Connect training with Eva, because I signed up for that activity on Redwood Terrace Connect. I'll also see any birthdays, when the mail is in, and any requests that I make for maintenance, for housekeeping, or suggestions and IT support. Also for transportation and dining. So this actually ends up being like a full schedule. If you're using an iPhone or an iPad, then your schedule actually shows up underneath your cubes. So you have to scroll down to see it. If you're using an iPhone or an iPad, it is located underneath your cubes. And just like Jack pointed out, the reason that I'm showing this to you all is because we can see that that request I just input is actually on my schedule now. And it shows a status. The status is requested. Now that word requested actually has some significance. Does anyone know what that means or implies, requested?
It implies it hasn't been read or acknowledged by the IT folks.
You are an expert, my friend. You are absolutely right. When we see requested, that means that our team members haven't actually seen that request yet. Once they see it, do you know what it changes to?
Maybe received.
Not received, but it changes to in progress. Once they see it, it will change to in progress, and in progress actually appears in yellow text, a little yellow background. Once we get any kind of change to a request we've submitted, we will actually get a notification about that change. So we don't just have to sit and watch our schedule all day. We'll get a notification about that request being seen. The notifications will appear in your menu under notifications. My menu and the menu for computer users, Androids, and browsers is at the top of the page. iPhone, iPad users, your menu is visible at the bottom of the page. And from that menu, you would click where it says notifications. Now this will show you any alerts or notifications to various things like activities that you've signed up for if they've been canceled or moved. Then you would receive a notification about it. And when your request for anything like IT support, maintenance, housekeeping, when that changes from requested to in progress, you will receive a notification about it. That's kind of cool, huh? I think so. But we have another place that we can actually look at and see our requests for IT support. Does anyone know what I'm talking about or how to get there?
Well, I sometimes go to the next 5 days, but that would just be the same type of thing.
Yeah, we could go to next days, and that would show us not really any changes to the request, but it would just show us all of our other activities and things we're interested in. I'm talking about, Jack, going back into that IT support cube, that blue cube with the computer icon and the question mark. If we go back there and open that cube, and instead of going to place request, where we put in that request for IT support, we would go to your requests. Your requests is where we can see a chronological view of all the requests for IT support that we have made using Redwood Terrace Connect. So did you hear that little caveat there? Only the ones using Redwood Terrace Connect. If you call in an IT support request, it will not show up here. But if you put in the request using Redwood Terrace Connect, it absolutely will show up here. iPhone and iPad users may have an active filter only showing you about a month back of all of your requests. Computer, Android, and browser users, we get to see all of our requests from the beginning of time. There's no filter. It just automatically shows us everything. If we want to see more information about the requests that we've made, and right now I only have that one request in here. There's nothing further in the past. because it's all I've done using Redwood Terrace Connect IT support. But I can see more about it by clicking it, and I'm taken to a really familiar looking page. This is all that request that I input in that form, right? For Eva Lewis, type network internet issue. Here's my comment when I requested it, where it is. And you guys don't have to worry about this little piece, Works Hub synchronization is active. All that means is that when you place a request using Redwood Terrace Connect, that request will go to the computers of your team members. They'll see it. They use a program, a piece of software called Works Hub that allows them to manage your work orders. So when you put in a work order on Redwood Terrace Connect, it goes into their computers. To get out of this work order, I would hit the back arrow in the top left. And it takes me back to all of my previous requests that I have made for IT support through Redwood Terrace Connect. If I hit the back arrow again in the top left, where do you think it's going to take me? Any ideas?
Homepage, perhaps. I don't know if it's go that far.
Close, but no cigar. It takes me back to the main page of IT support. Now, if I want to get home, Jack, how do I do it?
Home in the top, in the middle.
Right, I'd hit home in my menu, which for me is located at the top of the page. iPhone and iPad users, home is located at the bottom of the page. Now, how are we feeling about the IT support cube? I know that was, well, I feel like that was a lot of information. So I want to give you guys the opportunity to ask questions or make some comments on what I just showed you.
No, we're fine.
Okay, yeah, well, you've sounded like pros the whole time. Okay.
Ask our IT person if you think we're pros.
Is your IT person there?
Yeah.
How often do you check the work orders?
Every day.
Is it multiple times a day, or do you do it usually in the morning?
Multiple times a day. So definitely in the morning and then as I go on.
And do you typically call to make an appointment with somebody, or do you just show up? I'm just curious.
Yeah, so I call and leave a voicemail if I don't get to them, and I do that 3 times. And if on the 3rd time I don't get a response, then I go and knock. And then if I don't get a response, then I cancel it.
Ah, that's really good to know. So you call 3 separate times, and if they don't answer any of those times, then you knock on the door. And then what do you do?
And then if nothing, if I don't get a response at all, then I'll close it.
Then you cancel it. So if I didn't answer my 3 phone calls or I didn't answer my door, then this would change from requested to in progress to canceled. Right. Thank you for that. Alrighty, team. Well, since we are good to go with IT support, I'm going to talk about suggestions. Let's start in the suggestions cube, which is an orange cube and it has a white star on it. When I open that cube, I see the following text. We have provided the suggestions cube to allow residents to give lifestyle programming suggestions and offer feedback on our dining program and exterior appearance of the community. Please note that the suggestions cube is not meant to be used as the compliance hotline, which is accessed by calling 888-740-4636. As always, you're welcome to share suggestions and feedback with your executive director. That's the text that we see when we open to the main page of the suggestions cube. And on this main page, we not only have that text, but we have two buttons, Make Suggestion and Your Suggestions. If you have a suggestion to make, you can click where it says Make Suggestion. And once you click Make Suggestion, you'll be taken to another form. But this one's much shorter than the one on IT support, maintenance, or housekeeping. With this form, we just have type. And then choose or choose from list. So we click or tap choose or choose from list, and these are our options. Team member appreciation, lifestyle program suggestions, dining feedback, building and grounds feedback, and general. If we have a suggestion that doesn't fit into any of these top four, we could just choose general. Now I'm going to run through these and show you that depending on your selection of this list, the prompt may change. So this is the prompt right above that text box. For team member appreciation, the prompt is which team member do you want to celebrate and why? We would use this text box to answer that question. If we change it instead to lifestyle program suggestions, the prompt changes to thoughts or feedback on the lifestyles and activities. We would detail that here in this text box. If we chose dining feedback, we then instead have a prompt that says, thoughts or feedback on your meal. Please include date, time, location, and meal so that we can respond as well as possible. For building and grounds feedback, we have what do you want to share with the team? For general, we also have what do you want to share with the team? I'm going to make a suggestion and I'm going to leave it at general. My suggestion is going to be please remove any duplicate information found on the IT support cube. Instead, have it available as an attachment on the bottom rather than body text. So that was something that I was mentioning when we were talking about IT support and the layout. I also might say, also please remove Happy New Year because it's mid-April. Now, this is the kind of suggestion that I would make, but if you have suggestions to how your platform looks, how your Redwood Terrace Connect looks, typically you want to contact your content manager, your life enrichment director, Amanda, someone in life enrichment, and they'll help either make that happen or put in an enhancement request so that Cubigo, who helped create this platform, can possibly work on making those changes. If you're following along with me and you're making a fake suggestion, then please hit cancel. Cancel for me is located at the bottom of my page here. For iPhone and iPad users, cancel is usually in the top right. I'm actually going to submit this, so I'm going to hit where it says submit. Now I could see on my home page that that request shows up on my schedule. Right? Here's the little star indicating it was a suggestion. It was requested. The cool thing about suggestions is that if there's ever feedback from the team member that read it, and there should be feedback once they see it, we can see that. We can essentially see their responses to our suggestions. Unfortunately, I won't be able to show you that in a detailed way today because the suggestion that I've made has not been seen yet. But if we wanted to check for that, we could go back into the suggestions cube, and instead of make suggestion, we would hit your suggestions and select that suggestion. But if it shows requested, then there's not going to be any feedback. It might be in progress or done. But on this page, once we clicked it, it would show us the feedback from the team member. It would show their comment, usually over on the right side or at the bottom. It would show their response. And we could again respond back to them. For iPhones and iPads, if you have a suggestion that had comments on it, like I'm talking about now, you would see the option Show Comments at the bottom. And you'd click that and you'd be taken to a screen where you'd see whatever your team member wrote. So I think that this is a pretty neat feature where you can actually have conversations with your team members in an organized format about suggestions or appreciation about certain things, changes you'd like to see within your community, comments about dining, about really anything. It's an interactive suggestions box. So I highly recommend using the suggestions cube for this. To leave the suggestions cube, I can hit the back arrow in the top left to go back to the page where I see all of my previously placed suggestions. I can hit the back arrow again in the top left to return to the main page of suggestions. To get home, I'll hit home in my menu, which for me is at the top of the page. But for iPhone and iPad users, it's at the bottom of the page. So thank you so much for watching this training. Please rewatch as many times as you need to. I always recommend, if it's your first time watching, that you just keep your eyes up here and absorb as much as you can. And then when you watch it through a second time, that's when you can really start following along on your own device. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you next time.